Was David Beckham overrated? David Beckham, once the most hated man in all of England, now an icon for fans all over the world. But was he really the world-class footballer his fans say he was? Keep watching to find out. David Robert Joseph Beckham was born in London back in 1975 to Sandra Georgina, who was a hairdresser, and David Edward Alan Beckham, a kitchen fitter. Since he was a child, Beckham dreamt of becoming a professional footballer. He received immense support from both of his parents, who were both football fanatics and massive Manchester United supporters. During his teen years, he played for Tottenham Hotspur, Brimsdown Rovers and Manchester United youth team, before finally starting his professional senior career as a Red Devil. He went on to have an absolutely fantastic career that lasted 20 years, during which time he was able to win 19 major trophies. Now the real question is, how can a player who won 19 major trophies in 20 years be called overrated? If you're one of those football fans from the late 1990s and the early 2000s, you have most definitely experienced the hype surrounding David Beckham as one of the best players of that time. He used to be compared to football greats and Ballon d'Or winners like Zinedine Zidane and Louis Figo, despite never winning the award. But was he really as good as these legends? There is no denying the fact that David Beckham was an absolutely wonderful player. He is without question and beyond doubt one of the greatest crossers of the ball that football has ever seen. He kept whipping crosses in time and time again, that too with pinpoint accuracy. In fact, he deserves to be credited for putting in delicious crosses and helping the likes of Dwight York, Andy Carroll and Ruud van Nistelrooy ramping up their goal scoring statistics. Apart from his incredible crossing ability, he was also well known for his gorgeous free kicks. If you are a football fan, there is no chance that you haven't heard of bending your free kick like Beckham. There is even a famous movie titled Bend It Like Beckham. Apart from his crosses and free kicks, Beckham was also well known as a top-class passer of the ball with his right foot. His pure technique on the right foot combined with his ability to find a perfect pass to his teammate running 60 or 70 yards in front of him made him a footballing maestro. However, he is still claimed by several pundits to be an overrated player because despite his amazing football ability, he would have not reached the levels he has achieved if not for the English media constantly overhyping him and giving him the celebrity status. The English media is infamous for having a history of overhyping their national players whenever they put in a few good performances. Let's take a very recent example of the part-time English captain and full-time Manchester United captain Harry Maguire, who was overhyped by English media for his value to rise up to 80 million, but ended up being a terrible defender. While most of them do not live up to the hype, some of them do. David Beckham was a player that did not disappoint. However, he was never the player the media portrayed him to be. He was obviously a good passer, crosser and free kick specialist, but apart from these there wasn't much he could add. Whenever he received the ball at his feet, his only option was to find a pass. He did not have the ability to take on a defender one-on-one and beat them with pace to cut inside and hit a curler, a trait that is extremely essential in a role of a modern winger. He was a right winger with a decent work rate and his playing style and range of passes was well suited for the Manchester United side. He couldn't dribble and rarely tried to pass a man. He would hardly ever get into attacking positions at the back post to impose any kind of threat to the opposition goal if the ball had been crossed from the left-hand side. This made him relatively a one-dimensional player. Now let's come to the argument about the broad showcase of major trophies. He has won 6 Premier Leagues, 2 FA Cups and 1 Champions League with Manchester United, where he was one of Fergie's emerging fledglings and a member of United's golden generation of dazzling young stars. The truth is that David Beckham was a part of a Manchester United team that was one of the greatest sides of all time. Every player on the pitch was a potential match winner. As a Red Devil, he had a ratio of 1 goal every 5 matches, which was apparently enough for him to be called the greatest Premier League player of all time. If that's the case, then what about players like Giggs, Scholes, Lampard, Shearer and Aguero? There is one thing that happens when the media presents a player as the best in the world. Real Madrid comes knocking at the door. After 11 years at Manchester United, Beckham went to Madrid for a multi-million-pound deal worth around €35 million, which is not much in today's highly inflated transfer market. However, at the time, this was a massive sum that Real Madrid were ready to pay thanks to Beckham's portrayal as the best player in the world by the English media. His move to Madrid was claimed by experts as less due to footballing reasons and more to broaden his horizons and emerge as a world icon. He was a good player for Los Blancos, but not as much as he was back at United. Even though he did not possess the same level of skills as players like Zidane, Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, he became a fan favourite for his work rate and humility. For example, there was a long period when he was not being selected to play for the team, but his relentless effort at training eventually convinced the manager to let him back in. Beckham's stats did not speak well about his presence in the team, as he averaged a goal in every 8 games. However, he was a key player in winning the league title in his final season. Despite his good performances, he was clearly not the generational player that everyone expected him to be. Many criticised this move by saying that Beckham was brought by Madrid primarily to sell merchandise to the Far East. This begs the question, would he have earned this move to Real Madrid solely based on his on-field performances instead of his celebrity status created by the media? Probably not. After 4 seasons at Madrid, David Beckham joined the North American side Los Angeles Galaxy with a mind-blowing contract. The hype surrounding Beckham was so out of control that LA Galaxy agreed to offer the English footballer a whopping $250 million deal in total potential earnings over 5 years. The deal broke every record for the wages of a footballer. While this was in no way David Beckham's real value as a football player, it was actually a worthy investment for not only LA Galaxy, but the entire MLS. He was the next greatest signing for the MLS since Pelé. He scored a goal in every 6th appearance for the team, which was a very disappointing stat, especially in such a lousy league where players go to spend their last few years before retiring. Even though his performance as a player was quite disappointing, it was not a bad investment for LA Galaxy in any way. The American side used Beckham's fame to get worldwide reach and generate mass revenue. During his 5 years at LA Galaxy, he was able to win 2 MLS Cups and spend 2 consecutive years as a loanee at AC Milan, where he wasn't a regular player. Beckham moved to PSG for his last season of his professional career, but only played 10 games in the entire season. Despite barely playing for the dominant French side, David Beckham was able to add another league trophy to his collection without any kind of contribution to winning it. That basically sums up his long list of major trophies. Now let's talk about his international career. There is no doubt that Beckham deserved a spot in the England Golden Team, which was apparently capable of dominating the world in the early 2000s. However, would he have earned the captain's armband if not for his celebrity status? Was he the ideal candidate for the captaincy? Probably not. Yes, he showed his grit and dedication for the Three Lions several times, but so did his teammates who were much better players than him, like Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Paul Scholes, etc. Beckham put in some inspirational performances for England, especially during the Euro 2004 qualifications. His best moment in the England shirt was the absolute stunner of a free kick against Greece that helped his national side qualify for the 2002 World Cup. In the same game, he covered an astounding distance of 6.1 kilometres. However, he also faced some major low points for his nation. His missed tackle led to Brazil scoring the goal in the quarter-finals of the 2002 World Cup. His most embarrassing moment in the white England shirt came against Argentina in the 1998 World Cup when he received a red card for kicking Diego Simeone. England had to play the rest of the match with 10 men and eventually lose to Argentina on penalties. Subsequently to this event, Beckham went on to become the most hated man in England. Apart from these incidents, his stats of 17 goals in 115 caps as an attacking player aren't by any means of legendary status. However, he's still considered an England legend and probably their greatest player of all time. David Beckham is undoubtedly a fantastic player, but there were and are several other players as good or maybe even better than him that did not get the status that Beckham had. These players spent the entirety of their careers at mid-table Premier League clubs, as they did not get the public persona and exposure that Beckham has. He has an appealing personality, and his canny marketing helped him build up a media profile. His endorsements and marriage to posh boss Victoria Beckham was also in his favour. This exposure helped David Beckham become the golden boy of English football. He was always the first name on the English team sheet, no matter what his form was at the time. The public exposure caused Beckham's strengths to be highlighted and his abilities to be over-exaggerated. Beckham has always been a really good player, but he was without doubt overrated. mainly because the media's rating of him was far too high. He did make a career out of his abilities, and that cannot be taken away from him, but his ability alone would not have gotten him where he is today. Do you agree with what we've said? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, make sure you watch this video in the link, and if you like our content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. On the screen now should be another video worth watching, so click that video and we'll see you in the next video.